Welcome, everyone. Let's begin our lesson for today by going over the learning goals and success criteria. First, what are we learning? We're learning how to examine functions and compare their function values and behaviors in given intervals. How are we learning it? Through the comparing functions notes and the comparing functions assignment. When can we use this information? To examine how previous experiences and previous solutions can help lead to positive outcomes for current issues. How do you know you learned it? By getting a score of 4 on the comparing functions assignment. Now let's take a look at our agenda for today. We will begin by going over the learning goals and success criteria. While we do that, you'll fill out your Get It Started. Once you've completed your Get It Started, we'll go over it together and answer any questions that you may have. Next, we'll do our weekly raffle. After that, we'll go over the comparing functions notes, and I'll give you time to complete the comparing functions assignment on Desmos. Once you've completed the assignment, we'll go over it together and answer any questions that you may have. At the end of class, we'll go back over our learning goals and success criteria while you fill out your Before You Go. Your only homework for tonight is to continue working on the reasoning with representations of functions study guide and any incomplete assignments that you may have. Let's take a look now at the comparing functions notes. The notes begin with the learning goals and success criteria. Now, what is a function? A function is a relation in which each element of the domain is paired with exactly one element of the range. So that means that for every x, there's exactly one y that matches with that x value. If there is more than one y to match up with an x, then it is not a function. So let's look at some examples here. So we have a bunch of dots here. We have tables, we have equations. We can see it in various different ways. But if we notice here, there's an x value here at x equals negative 4, and y is negative 3. There's no other y value that matches with it. Same thing with all of these. Here we have a straight line. I can pick any x value, and there's only one y that matches it. Here, again, same thing. Now, non-functions look something like this. So notice, if I pick an x value like x equals 0, so when x is 0, y is this one, it's this one, and it's this one. So there's 3 different y values that match up. That doesn't work. Same thing here. If we look here at this x value right here, there's 2 values there for y that make it true. So that doesn't work. Same thing here. If I pick x equals 0 here and here, there is 2 points. So again, not a function. Now, can we represent a function verbally? Well, functions can be represented in many different ways. Here, the first one is symbolic representation. An example of that would be f of 3 equals 7. So what we're saying is when x is 3, y is 7. We can write it as a mapping. So we could say 3 is mapped to 7, meaning that when we plug 3 in for x, we get 7. We can do it graphically. So the point 3, 7 belongs to the graph of function f. So we could say it that way. We could say it as an image. So 7 is the image of 3, meaning 7 is the result when we plug 3 in. So it's just the backwards way of saying the mapping. We can also do it visually. So we could do it graphically. So we could have a point here, 3, 7, on the graph. Or we could do a mapping diagram that looks like this, where we have 3 being mapped to 7 by an arrow. Now, what is a function value? A function value is the resulting range value, so the y value, after a given domain value is selected that makes the function true. So in order to find a function value, we're going to plug in the given value for x. So whatever they tell us they want for x, the function value is the result or the output. So for instance, if I have f of 3 is equal to x minus 5. So all that means is I'm going to take 3 and plug it in, and then the result is what we call the function value. So we plug 3 in for x, and we get 3 minus 5, which is negative 2. So negative 2 is my function value. So finding a function value from a graph. So which of the following letters represents f of 4? So I'm going to go here to where x is 4, which is here. So notice I have f of 4 is represented by this dotted line p here. So it's right there. And we would say then that p represents f of 4. Now, if it asks for the actual solution, then that would be c. So p is our answer in this one. Now, if it actually gives us the value, so 2, f of 2. So here we would say f of 2, which is right here, and x is actually 2, so that means that we're going to select the actual point on the graph, which in this case is D. So if you see something like this in coordinate form, you're going to find the actual point on the graph. If you see it and it's just this part, like f of 2, it's going to be the value on the dotted line, which would have been B. Now, how do we find a function value from an actual equation? So it says, what is the function value for f of 6 for the function f of x is equal to 2x minus 5? So what we're going to do is we're going to take f of x equals 2 minus 5, and we're going to plug 6 in for x. So it goes here and here. So f of 6 is equal to 2 times 6 minus 5. Well, 2 times 6 is 12. 12 minus 5 is 7. So the function value for f of 6 is 7. Now let's take a look at how we can compare function values. So this question says, is h of 1 greater than h of 2? So if we find where x is 1, which is here, is that greater than when it's 2, which is here? Well, we can see that this spot is higher, so that is not true. So no, h of 1 is less than h of 2. Here's another question. Is h of negative 0.5 positive? So negative 1/2, which is about right here somewhere. Is it positive? Well, we can see that it is. It's above the x-axis, so yes, it's positive. Now, how many numbers map to 1? Well, remember when we say map to 1, that means that y is 1. So there's 1, 2 values there. There's 3, 4, 5 values that map to 1. So there are 5 numbers that map to 1. So these are the types of questions that you could see on your assignment today. Let's talk now about how to sign in to Desmos to complete your work. So what we're going to do is you're going to click on the link to go to the assignment, and it should take you to a page that looks kind of like this. And right here where it says sign in with Google, we're going to click there. And it's going to pop up with our email accounts. You're going to click on your school email account, and it should already have you logged in because you should have already been logged in using Google Classroom. From there, I'm just going to click start the activity, and it will take me into the assignment and allow me to begin. So that's how you will log in to Desmos using Google. Let's take a look now at the comparing functions assignment. The assignment begins with the learning goals and success criteria. If we scroll down, there's a link here to take you to the Desmos activity. Go ahead and click on that link, and it should take you to a page that looks like this. We'll go ahead and click start the activity. The assignment begins with the learning goals and success criteria. We'll go ahead and click next. Now here we're given a graph, and we're asked a series of questions. So it says, what is h of 0? So when we look, where is the graph at when x is 0? When x is 0, y is also 0. So we say that's 0. This one says, is h of 1 greater than h of 2? So we can see that when x is 1, h is right here somewhere. And when x is 2, h is up here. So that is not correct, so we would say no. And we'll answer each of these questions. How many solutions does the equation h of x equals 0 have? So that means how many times does y equal 0? Well, it equals 0 1, 2, 3 times. So 3 solutions. And you'll answer each of these questions. Then we'll click next. And we're going to do the same thing with this graph now. So notice there's 2 functions here. There's an f of x and a g of x. And you're just going to answer each of the questions for these. And then when you're done with that, you'll go ahead and go back to your Google form and click next. This will take you to your before you go. Go ahead and fill out your before you go and then submit your work on Google Classroom.